Evil usually has reason. Maybe it's vengeance, maybe it's ambition, maybe it's a warped sense of justice. Hell, for some it might even be comedic. But then there's the mayor.
Let's drag them out of bed by the hair and remind them of what we are. We will remind them of what it feels like to live in fear. We will remind them of the sound our jackboots make against their throats.
The charming, soft-spoken, war-horny monster from Hellsing Ultimate. A man who doesn't seek victory or domination. He just wants to see the world burn in a beautiful swirl of chaos and darkness. Today we're diving into why the mayor from Hellsing Ultimate is not just evil, he might be the slimiest villain in anime history.
I have brought you all back just as I promised I would. Back to our favorite battle. Our beloved war.
The mayor, leader of Millennium, is the architect of Hellsing Ultimate's apocalypse. A former Nazi officer who escaped to South America after World War II, he spent decades after building a vampire army. The Letzte Battalion, with one purpose: to start another war. Not to win, not to prove anything, just to fight. But the mayor wasn't always the top dog. Yes, even the likes of him can get clipped.
And now join your tools in hell.
You would expect this encounter to teach him a good lesson. That's where you're wrong. He loves the thrill of getting cornered by enemy soldiers, only to be met by a barrage of bullets. Or a flaming tank about to explode, with its operator escaping, happy to have survived, only to be met by another barrage of bullets. The mayor loved this experience, despite loving the concept of getting clipped just as much as killing others. He couldn't afford to let such a blunder happen again. This time, he's prepared. If you like this type of content, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Help me climb the endless abyss called the YouTube algorithm. Now, to get back to business. Even as the mayor's own lieutenant gets viciously devoured, he does nothing but watch and salutes her for her long service.
No matter how many stones you cast upon the water's surface, no matter how many times you stomp your boots upon the creeping shadows, they will never submit to your will.
That is the river of death.
In the fourth OVA of Hellsing Ultimate, the mayor gives his infamous speech, one of the most memorable moments in anime history.
I love war. I love holocausts. I love blitzkriegs. I love defensive lines. I love sieges, charges. I love mop-up operations and retreats. Wars across prairies, in streets, in trenches, in grasslands, in frozen tundras, through deserts, on the sea, in the air. I love every act of war that can occur upon this earth. I love blasting the enemy to smithereens with artillery salvos that thunder across the lines of battle. My heart leaps with joy whenever a soldier is tossed high into the air and cut to pieces by well-placed sniper rounds. And there is nothing like a tank operator using a Tiger Octoct to destroy enemy tanks. It moves me deep within my heart to watch a fresh recruit stabbing over and over into the bloated chest of a long-dead enemy. The sight of deserters being strung up from a street lamp is an irresistible pleasure. Once there is nothing more arousing than the sounds made by prisoners of war dropping like flies, screaming in agony as they're mowed down by ear-piercing schmeizers.
When the mayor's plan begins, it's not a military operation, it's a bloody massacre. The sky above London, filled with the Millennium's airships. Within minutes, the city is a sea of blood and fire. Civilians are ripped apart, police and soldiers are mowed down, And all the while, the mayor watches from above, smiling, sipping wine, his eyes glowing with excitement. As the city burns, one of his officers asks,
Major, what about the cabinet ballroom?
The mayor simply replies,
Blow them up! They're awful. Don't leave the slightest hint they ever existed.
That single line says it all. He is not driven by hate or vengeance. This man is driven by the aesthetic of chaos itself.
What shall we do about Trafalgar Square, Major?
Destroy it. Topple Nelson's column. The Tower of London, the British Museum, the British Library. Destroy them all.
Unlike most villains, he doesn't care about winning. His entire purpose is to create war, to bask in the horror of it. The mayor is war personified, not as politics or ideology, but as an art form of suffering. The mayor's true evil shines brightest in his final confrontation with Alucard.
I am unstoppable. I am unstoppable. I can never lose. Not ever.
Who is also referred to as the Bird of Hermes in every episode's opening. He knows Alucard is a godlike monster, the literal embodiment of death. The term Bird of Hermes stems from Hermes, a god known for both speed and his ability for flight. A bird's best quality is both flight and speed, so the Hermes bird would be the most spectacular bird of them all. But this particular bird is eating its own wings, because otherwise the temptation of flying would be too strong to resist. It is also said that said bird is actually faster than Hermes himself, and is putting this limitation on itself as not to anger the god who owns it. What is really interesting about the eating my wings part is that it's self-mutilating. Or if you extend the metaphor, Alucard is actually limiting his own powers himself. This makes him truly terrifying. In other words, if he truly wanted to, he could use the dark arts all he wants without permission and pretty much end the world as we know it. But he puts this limitation on himself so that he can be of use to the Hellsing family. This is backed up by the fact that Alucard is essentially the last-ditch effort, only for the most desperate of situations. Alucard is limiting his own powers by his own will, and all because of a game that he enjoys playing. But even after knowing what this monstrosity is capable of, the mayor, he doesn't fear him. In fact, he welcomes him. When Integra finally kills him, shoving a bullet up his brain, there is no fear in his eyes. Instead, a bright smile of happiness and satisfaction.
I finally hit something.
He didn't care that his plan to kill Alucard didn't fully realize. He was glad enough to die in combat, despite having bad aim. He died a mortal. He died a human. Even in death, he gets what he wants. A beautiful bloody end to his preposterous war. No redemption, no regret, only satisfaction. What makes the mayor's evil so haunting is that there is no underlying tragedy to explain him. No childhood trauma, no grand ideology. He is not trying to prove a point. He is the point. With a world full of bloodlusted monsters, he is the only one with his physical humanity still intact. And that's what honestly makes him the most vile, even compared to other villains like Griffith, for example, whose driving force is an intense, singular ambition to acquire a kingdom and immense power. This goal transcends any sense of morality or or loyalty to his comrades, or villains like Light Yagami, whose primary motive is to create a world free of crime and injustice, ruled by him as a godlike figure, which stems from the belief that the world is rotten and a boredom with the status quo. Dio Brando's primary motive: to achieve supreme power and world domination, initially driven by a hatred for the Joestar family and a desire for their fortune. But Dio's true and ultimate goal was revealed later. His true goal was to reach heaven, a state of mind where he can know and control everyone's fate, which he believed would in turn bring the ultimate peace of mind. And look, all of these villains are despicable, hell, maybe even more gruesome than the mayor, but all of them have one thing in common: a driving factor, a goal, or maybe a dream. The mayor cares for none of that. The mayor is evil, stripped of all pretense. Now, to wrap it up, please, if you like this form of content and you maybe want me to cover your favorite fictional or anime character, leave your comment down below. I really hope you like the video. Salute.
I finally hit something.